She thought her son was too young to understand her pain. But one morning, his innocent question shattered the wall she had built around her heart. What he said next left her frozen and changed everything she believed about love, loss, and motherhood. I was standing by the kitchen window, rinsing the last of the breakfast dishes. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting golden stripes across the floor. Outside, the wind gently shook the branches of the old mango tree, the same tree my son had climbed countless times. The scent of toasted bread still lingered in the air, mingling with the faint citrus from the soap in my hands. My fingers were pruned from the warm water, but my mind was elsewhere, on bills, deadlines, and unanswered messages. Behind me, I heard the soft padding of footsteps. My son, Adam, walked in, his hair still messy from sleep, clutching his favorite red toy car. He climbed onto the stool by the counter, swinging his legs, watching me silently. I wiped my hands with a towel, smiling at him, expecting a request for snacks or screen time. Instead, he looked at me with serious eyes, the kind that made my chest tighten. His voice was soft, careful, as if afraid his question might break something invisible. "Mom," he asked, "why do you always look sad when no one is watching?" My heart missed a beat. I turned slowly, unsure if I had heard him right. His small fingers traced the pattern on the counter while he waited for my reply. The room suddenly felt too still. The clock on the wall ticked louder, every second like a nudge to speak. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. I had never realized he noticed. I thought I hid it well, the sighs, the forced smiles, the quiet moments in the bathroom where tears came without warning. I crouched beside him, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "What do you mean, baby?" I asked, my voice shaking despite my effort to steady it. He tilted his head, thinking. "Sometimes at night, when you think I am asleep, I see you sitting in the dark. You do not cry loud, but I can hear it." He looked at me, eyes wide and innocent, but heavy with something that did not belong in a child. "I just wanted to know did I do something wrong?" A sharp pain surged through my chest, like someone had carved open my ribs. I could feel the kitchen spinning slightly, though I was still on the floor. The hum of the refrigerator, the birds outside, the ticking clock, everything faded behind his words. Tears pooled in my eyes, and I could not hold them back. He reached out, wiping one away with his tiny thumb. His touch was gentle, but his question still thundered in my mind. How long had he been carrying this burden in silence? How many nights had he watched me fall apart, pretending to sleep, holding in his fears? I held him close, tighter than I ever had before. His little hands wrapped around my shoulders, and I could feel his heartbeat against mine. I wanted to tell him everything, that it was never his fault, that the sadness was mine, from a life that had not gone the way I hoped, from the love I lost, the dreams that slipped through my fingers, the loneliness I tried to mask with chores and laughter. But as I opened my mouth to speak, he pulled back and said something that froze me. "Are you sad because of Daddy?" My breath caught. I had not spoken of his father in over a year. Not in front of him, not even to myself. His father had left one night and never came back. No goodbye. No note. Just silence, and a void I tried to fill with routines and resilience. I swallowed hard, trying to calm the storm rising inside me. "What made you say that?" I asked, though a part of me already knew. He looked down at his toy car, now still in his lap. "Because I heard you say his name when you were crying last week." My heart squeezed again. There was no hiding now. The truth was standing in the middle of the room, held in the arms of a child who knew far more than he should. I sat back on my heels, staring at the floor, unable to meet his gaze. The silence between us deepened, thick and suffocating. And then he whispered something that I never expected. "You do not have to miss him if he made you cry." I looked up at him, startled. His eyes were soft, full of love, but firm in a way that made him seem older than his years. "Do you miss him, Mom?" My lips parted, but the truth clung to my throat like a stone. I tried to find the right words, but before I could answer, he slid off the stool and came to sit in my lap. His warmth, his weight, his quiet presence, It broke something in me I did not know still needed breaking. And then, just as I was about to speak, he placed his small hand over my heart. "You do not have to say it," he whispered. His voice was barely audible, but it carried more weight than any words I could offer. My throat burned, and tears slipped down my cheeks, warm and relentless. He rested his head against my chest, listening to the rhythm of a heart that had been bruised too many times. I wrapped my arms around him, holding on like he was the only thing keeping me from falling apart completely. Because in that moment he was. His innocence, his love, his courage to ask what I had tried to bury. It disarmed me. I had spent so long protecting him from my pain, not realizing he was already carrying it with me. He looked up again, his face close to mine. "You still have me," he said. I nodded, unable to speak, only able to hold him tighter. The wind outside had stilled, the house wrapped in a quiet calm that felt almost sacred. For the first time in months, maybe years, I allowed myself to just be broken, open, seen. Not strong, not perfect, just a mother. And a boy who had seen too much, but loved without limits. I kissed the top of his head, breathing in the scent of shampoo and sunshine. Then he looked up once more, his eyes searching mine. "Can we be happy again?" he asked softly. And as I looked into those eyes, full of hope, full of longing, I realized something. I did not have all the answers. I could not promise that every day would be better. But I could promise him this, that we would try, together. And in that moment, sitting on the cold kitchen floor with my son in my lap, I felt something stir inside me. Not the pain, not the regret, but the first quiet bloom of healing. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting the silence wrap around us like a blanket. The weight on my chest eased just a little, not gone, but softer. Lighter. I opened my eyes and looked around the kitchen. The messy counter, the half-empty glass of juice, the sunbeams still resting across the floor. Nothing had changed, and yet everything had. He shifted in my lap and smiled up at me, and for the first time in a long while, I smiled back without forcing it. "Yes," I whispered, my voice steady now. "We can be happy again." His smile widened, and he leaned in, wrapping his arms around my neck. In that embrace, I felt more strength than I ever had from pretending to be strong. I stood up slowly, holding his hand in mine, feeling the warmth of it anchor me. "We will start today," I said. He nodded with a confidence that only children seem to carry, as if love alone could fix everything. Maybe it could. Maybe it already had. He ran ahead into the living room, laughing as he jumped onto the couch, his toy car clutched tightly in one hand. I stood at the doorway, watching him, and for the first time, I did not feel the emptiness of the space his father once filled. I felt something fuller, something real. The bond between a mother and her son, forged not through perfection, but through presence, through truth, through love that refuses to give up, even when everything else falls apart. I walked over and sat beside him, sinking into the worn cushions that had witnessed so many quiet nights. He leaned against me, humming softly as he rolled his car along the edge of the couch. I rested my hand gently on his back, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breath. Outside, the sky had shifted, the morning light giving way to soft afternoon gold. Birds chirped in the distance, and somewhere down the street, a child laughed. For a while, we just sat there, no rush, no need to fill the silence. It was enough to just be together. He looked up at me again, eyes full of a quiet joy. "Can we make pancakes for dinner?" he asked. I smiled, nodding. "Absolutely. With extra syrup." He grinned and hopped off the couch, racing toward the kitchen. As I watched him go, a warmth filled my chest, not the ache of sorrow, but the peace of knowing we were moving forward. Not by erasing the past, but by choosing each other every day. And in that small, ordinary moment, I knew we were going to be okay. Maybe not perfect, but whole, in a way that truly mattered. A mother, a son, and the quiet promise of brighter days ahead.